Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to my channel. Hello, dear viewers. Get ready to expand your horizons as we delve into Claudio Naranjo. Claudio Benjamín Naranjo Cohen, 24 November 1930 to 12 July 2019, was a Chilean-born psychiatrist who is considered a pioneer in integrating psychotherapy and the spiritual traditions. He was one of the three successors named by Fritz Perls, founder of Gestalt Therapy, a principal developer of Enneagram of Personality theories, and a founder of the Seekers After Truth Institute. He was also an elder statesman of the US and global human potential movement and the spiritual renaissance of the late 20th century. Naranjo authored several books. The spotlight now falls on background and education as we delve deeper into its details. Naranjo was born in Valparaiso, Chile. He grew up in a musical environment, and after an early start at the piano he studied musical composition. Shortly after entrance to medical school, he stopped composing as he became more involved in philosophical interests. Important influences from this time were Chilean visionary sculptor, philosopher and poet titular Albert Schweitzer (1890–1967), poet David Rosenman Taub, and Polish philosopher Bogomil Jasinowski (1883–1969). In this segment, we'll be unraveling the complexities of career and exploring its multifaceted nature. After graduating as a medical doctor in 1959, Naranjo was hired by the University of Chile Medical School to form part of a pioneering studies center in medical anthropology, CEAM Centro de Antropología Médica, founded by Professor of Physiology Franz Hofmann (1902–1981). At the same time, he served his psychiatry residency at the University Psychiatry Clinic under the direction of Ignacio Mat Blanco. Involved in research on the effects of traditional medical education, Naranjo traveled briefly to the United States during a mission assigned by the University of Chile to explore the field of perceptual learning. It is at that time that he became acquainted with the work of Samuel Renshaw and Hoyt Sherman at the Ohio State University. In 1962, Naranjo was at Harvard as a visiting Fulbright Scholar at the Center for Studies of Personality and Emerson Hall, where he was a participant in Gordon Uppert's social psychology seminar and a student of Paul Tillich. He became Raymond Cattell's associate at the Institute of Personality and Ability Testing (IPAT) in 1963. After a brief return to his native country, he was invited to Berkeley, California, for a year and a half to participate in the activities of the Institute of Personality Assessment and Research (IPAR). After another period at the University of Chile Medical School's Center of Medical Anthropology Studies and at the Instituto de Psicología, Naranjo returned once again to Berkeley and to IPAR, where he continued his activities as a research associate. It was during this period of time that he became an apprentice of Fritz Perls and part of the early Gestalt Therapy community, where he began conducting workshops at Chilean Institute as a visiting associate. He eventually became one of Perls' three successors, along with Jack Downing (1924–1993) and Robert Hall (1934–2019). In the years that led up to his becoming a key figure at Chilean, Naranjo received additional training and supervision from Jim Simkin in Los Angeles and attended sensory awareness workshops with Charlotte Selva. He became Carlos Castaner's close friend and became part of Leo Zeff's pioneering psychedelic therapy group. These meetings resulted in Naranjo's contribution of the use of harmaline, MDA, and ibogaine. In the years, Naranjo introduced ibogaine and harmaline into psychotherapy as a fantasy-enhancing drug. Richard Evans Schultz allowed for Naranjo to make a special journey by canoe up the Amazon River to study urge with the South American Indians. He brought back samples of this drug and published the first scientific description of the effects of its active alkaloids. In 1969, he was sought out as a consultant for the Education Policy Research Center, created by Willis Harman at Stanford Research Institute. His report as to what in the domain of psychological and spiritual techniques in vogue was applicable to education later became his first book, The One Quest. During this same period, he co-authored a book with Robert Ornstein on meditation. Also, an invitation from Ravenna Helson to examine the qualitative differences between books representative of the matriarchal and patriarchal factors led to his writing The Divine Child and The Hero, which would be published much later. The accidental death of his only son in 1970 marked a turning point in his life. Naranjo set off on a 6-month pilgrimage under the guidance of Oscar Chozo 1931-2020, the founder of Arica School, who applied enneagrams in his integral philosophy. Naranjo considered this spiritual retreat in the Atacama Desert near Arica, Chile, to be the true beginning of his spiritual experience, contemplative life and inner guidance. After leaving Arica, he began teaching a group that included his mother, Gestalt trainees and friends. This Chilean group, which began as an improvisation, took shape as a program and originated a non-profit corporation called the SAT Institute. These early years of the SAT Institute were implemented by a series of guest teachers, including Zolman Schachter, A. John Dirivamsa 1934-2021, Yang-style Tai Chi Master Chu Fang Chu Fing 1912-1988, Sri Harish Johari 1934-1999, and Robert Bob Hoffman 1920-1997, originator of the Hoffman quadrinity process. In 1976, Naranjo was a visiting professor at the Santa Cruz campus of the University of California for 2 semesters and later intermittently at the California Institute of Asian Studies. He also began to offer workshops in Europe, refining aspects of the mosaic of approaches in the SAT program. In 1987, he began the reborn SAT Institute in Spain for personal and professional development, with its program that includes Gestalt Therapy and its supervision, applications of the Enneagram of Personality, interpersonal meditation, music as a therapeutic resource and as an extension of meditation, guided self-insight and communication processes. Since then, the SAT program has extended to Italy, Brazil, Mexico, and Argentina, and more recently to France and Germany. Since the late years, Naranjo had divided each year between his activities abroad and his writing at home in Berkeley. Among his many publications, he revised an early book on Gestalt Therapy and published 2 new ones. He published 3 books on the Enneagram of Personality, as well as The End of Patriarchy, which is his interpretation of social problems as the expression of a devaluation of the nurturance and human instinct and their solution in the harmonious development of our 3-brained potential. He also published a book on meditation, The Way of Silence and the Talking Cure, and Songs of Enlightenment on the interpretation of the great books of the West as expressions of the inner journey and variations on the tale of the hero. From the years and onward he attended many education conferences and sought to influence the transformation of the educational system in various countries. It was his conviction that nothing is more hopeful in terms of social evolution than the collective furthering of individual wisdom, compassion and freedom. His book Changing Education to Change the World, published in Spanish in 2004, was meant to stimulate the efforts of teachers among SAT graduates who are beginning to be involved in a SAT in Education project that offers the staff of schools and the students in schools of education a supplementary curriculum of self-knowledge, relationship repair and spiritual culture. In 2006, the Foundation Claudio Naranjo was founded to implement his proposals regarding the transformation of traditional education into an education that does not neglect the human development that he believed our social evolution depends on. His most recent book, 2010, Healing Civilization, Bringing Personal Transformation into the Societal Realm Through Education and the Integration of the Intrapsychic Family, is both a continuation of and a turning point in Naranjo's lifelong work. In this book, with a foreword by Jean Houston, Naranjo explored what he saw as the root cause of the destruction of human civilization as evidenced in the Earth's decade as war, violence, oppression of women, child abuse, environmental endangerment. It's a patriarch giant brought both the problem and the solution home to an intrapsychic level. Patriarchy, he said, has taken root over millennia in the workings of our own conditioned minds. He also offered a remedy, which derives from the work of titular Albert regarding the triune being of our nature, the inner father corresponding to the head, the inner mother corresponding to the heart, and the inner child corresponding to the instincts. As people learn to integrate these three brains, Naranjo believed they may bring about a functional, even divine, family within. And this, he believed, in addition to transforming education oriented to personal and collective evolution, could bring about the healing of civilization. In the Watkins Mind Body Spirit magazine, he was listed as one of the 100 most spiritually influential living people of 2012. As we venture forward, let's take a closer look at writings and its impact on our understanding. On the Psychology of Meditation 1971, The One Quest 1972, The Healing Journey, New Approaches to Consciousness 1973, Any Types and Psychotherapy, Any Type Structures, Character and Neurosis, The End of Patriarchy, The Enneagram of Society, The Divine Child and the Hero, The Way of Silence and the Talking Cure, Techniques of Gestalt Therapy, Consciousness and Creativity, Transformation Through Insight, How to Be, Meditation in Spirit and Practice 1989, Changing Education to Change the World, Between Meditation and Psychotherapy, Healing Civilization, Bringing Personal Transformation into the Societal Realm Through Education and the Integration of the Intrapsychic Family, 2011, also published in French, German, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish. Thanks for being a part of this amazing journey. I can't wait to bring you more exciting content.